Yeah, today's show is it time for African Americans to create their own cities? I thought this was a really good topic. If you're joining us for the first time, it's the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur Smith. I'm Shakur, he's Smith. Smith is a veteran of the Army Reserves, and he currently works for the VA. And he likes history, politics, and race, likes to travel. Same thing with me. I'm in film and TV. I like the same. And together with the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur Smith, we always say we're not pro any race, just pro truth. And if the truth offends you, we're sorry, not sorry. That's our slogan. If you don't know, now you know. And today should be a good show, guys. We're back on the couch, staying COVID free. Hope you guys out there are staying COVID free. And I want to go ahead.
And the switch to Friday also.
Yeah. We're definitely going to start releasing the show on Fridays from now on, because it'll give me more time to edit and, kind of put together some nice shows for you guys. If you follow us on YouTube, you'll notice that, the visuals for the shows are getting better and stuff like that. And now that we have 1,000 subscribers, we're going to start, trying to just make the channel and the content, just bring the quality up a bit with what we talk about and how we talk about it. And if you watch us on YouTube, just creating some visuals and stuff like that, so you're not just staring at these two handsome gents the whole time. If you like to watch us on YouTube, you'll just see us intermittently in between the footage that I'm cutting in to the show. So yeah, that's what it is. That's the new change and stuff like that. And like I said, today we're talking about should African Americans build their own cities. And the first two things I wanted to, first of all, a few weeks ago when we went to Vegas, it's funny, Smith brought this up to me when we started talking about what we were going to talk about this week for you guys. And it's funny he brought it up because it's something that I had been thinking about anyway. In fact, when we went out to Vegas for Andrew's bachelor party, and we were, going past those, the vast desert out there, I was thinking that when we were in the car. Like, why don't African Americans just build our own cities, and it's something that I've been thinking about. Every time we live in wine country, guys, and there's a lot of land here still for sale, a lot of open spaces. And even every time I leave the house, as of yesterday, taking my daughter back to LA, I was thinking that, again, seeing the stuff for sale, because I see it all the time as I'm coming up and down the 15,
The only thing I've ever thought was like those, cities that are impoverished and just kind of beat down.
Yeah.
Like how could we as African Americans rebuild them or build them to, back to the glory of what they were at one point? Or just bring in change around where, like what we'll talk about later, just creates a safe haven. It creates a generational wealth, economic possibilities, all that stuff.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, I like this subject. We're gonna dive into it, and two of the first cities I want to talk about before Smith talks about this group of family and these group of families and what they're doing out in Texas. That is Georgia. That's right. I want to talk about Akon City. I don't know if you guys have been watching the news on that, but it's been all over the news lately because they're about to break ground on Akon City. And Akon had been talking about this for a while, and he finally got it going. And again, they're going to be breaking ground. I think they have already broken ground, and you're going to be able to actually start going there, if I'm not mistaken, as of 2021 or 2022.
Okay.
But I think the whole thing won't be done until later.
Okay.
But let me just give you guys, because Akon was kind of thinking the same thing. And I honestly think if we do this all over, this will be something that's great and sustainable and create generational wealth and stuff like that. It's great for a lot of reasons.
Yes.
Instead of begging the oppressor and the way systematic racism has been set up to give us things and land and property and the 40 acres and a mule that we were never promised. Yep. We have enough wealth in our own communities, in our infrastructure financially. I think we spend billions or something a year on goods. We have a way that we can go and buy property. I know they didn't give it to us and they still owe it to us, but we have a way that we can go and buy property and do what Akon is doing and what Kanye is doing, which we'll touch on in a second, and what these 19 black families are doing in Georgia,
And what I would, just agree with is that by building, like you said, there's enough wealth that's around, and certain locations, the property cost is so much cheaper than, being in a bigger city.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Absolutely.
By the fact that at this point in time, I do believe that we already have an economic, what was the term you just said about? We can generate
generational wealth.
We don't have full generational wealth, but we are making, our incomes are higher.
Yeah.
More African Americans are making pretty wealthy.
Our GDP within our community is huge.
It's huge,
and what we spend every year
and if we spend it in our own communities, it'll just be more beneficial.
It'll be more beneficial. Did you see the thing that Killer Mike did on Netflix where he saw how long it took to spend? I mean, that was a perfect example.
Yeah.
And he gave a small, minute example of what it would be like if we did our own thing. But I'm going to put the link to Akon City in the description below so you can check it out. But I'm going to just give you guys the vision real quick. Akon City, it is Senegal rivalry futuristic development to become the beacon of innovation and human development by providing the best education solution to lead the economy of the country, creating the most revolutionary industry, rewarding Senegalese hard work for making Senegal the leading country in technology, innovation, and natural resources. Best used by providing the best housing with utmost futuristic design, comforting the daily life with mixed use of entertainment and services for all types of residential buildings, social, middle class, and high end. Akon City will set the standard for all the future real estate development in Senegal as a country and region as a whole, making its mark internationally and positioning itself as one of the leading countries for creating a full circle of life. From one project will create the sale to follow elsewhere. I think this is a $6 billion project that Akon has going on here in Akon City. Again, this is a prime example of what the show is about today, so I want to bring it up. And as you guys know, I'm sure you've heard also that Kanye West, he has property that he's purchased also in Wyoming, and I think he spent $14 million for one ranch and another $15 million for another ranch. About an hour away from the other, and if I can get you guys the acreage, I think it's about, let me get it to you guys. I think it's a lot I think it's like 100 and something acres.
Okay.
I think it's bigger than what Akon is doing in Senegal. I think it's way bigger, the property.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, it's I think it's 100 and something acres or something like that. No, it's 1,400 acres. That's right. It's a lot. It's huge. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll definitely be sliding some photos in of what this probably looks like. It's beautiful, just mountains and in the background and the whole nine. But to me, this is smart, and just know that once I get my millions into the hundreds, millions, and billions, I'm gonna be doing the exact same thing. I've been thinking about it before Smith brought the show idea up, and it's definitely gonna be in my life plan as well.
Yeah.
To just get. I think it's a great idea. Just hundreds of acres and have our own property, man, and so on and so forth. It's just so important.
And one thing, in the thing I read, and I think we both agree that even though we like the idea that it's African Americans trying to build a city that's just welcoming to themselves, but it's not like it's going to be segregated or separated.
Right.
Anyone of any nationality or ethnicity can come and I would think at some point purchase or live in the community, just as long as it's all
Yeah. I mean, just like we always say, it's not about anti any other race, but it's about providing and protecting our race.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's a pro-black thing,
right?
But it's not.
You don't have to be anti someone else to be pro yourself.
Because one thing that people, I'm sure, are aware of but don't think about it is when immigrants came over from Ireland, Germany, just all over. Stockholm, just wherever, they built communities of their own when they got here. Unfortunately, African Americans were, enslaved, and then when they were free and we built our own, it was burned down. But the communities, there are communities of particular ethnicity that are thriving, and no one has any problem with that. So I would see, why would there be a problem?
It won't be any problem with it. Why would there be?
I mean,
more of us need to do it. I mean, they may have a problem with it, but I mean, what could they really do?
Correct.
More of us need to get into it. And again, before I pass it over to Smith, he could talk about these 19 families. Kudos to Akon for doing it. For being forward thinking. Kudos to Kanye for doing the same. And I hope more of our 100 millionaires and billionaires do the same thing.
I will have to say, please don't waste a vote on Kanye.
Right. He's not running anyway.
There are people still out there saying, anyway, there's these 19 families. It's part of a report called The Turning Point, a groundbreaking series by ABC News, examining the racial reckoning sweeping the United States and exploring whether it can lead to lasting reconciliation. But I'm going to read the article from USA Today. And it's 19 black families bought 97 acres of land, and they want to turn it into a city called Freedom. Real estate agent Ashley Scott was looking for some way to participate in the nationwide movement against police brutality and systematic racism without joining protests in the street. She didn't want to expose herself or her family to COVID-19, but she wanted to make an impact. That's when her friend and fellow entrepreneur Renee Walters told her about a town for sale. The foundation of our structure is where the problem is, Scott said. Finding a town. It felt like, okay, this is how we can change the foundation of the structure. In June, the pair went to visit the tiny town of Toomsboro, Georgia, which it turned out was not actually for sale, where they met dozens of other black investors and scoped out nearby pieces of property. When they came upon a plot of nearly 97 acres of land in rural Wilkinson County, Georgia, Scott said, it spoke to my spirit. It felt like the ancestors were like, this is it, she said. Over the next 45 days, Scott said she and Walters created the Freedom Georgia Initiative and recruited 17 other black families to purchase the land with hopes of developing it into an authentic black community and culture that feels safe, feels prosperous. Walters, the president of Freedom Georgia Initiative, said the neighboring counties have been welcoming, and the only negative reactions the group has seen have been from internet trolls. She was quick to dispel the misconception that the land is exclusively for black families. Pro-black does not mean anti-white, she said. We don't want people to think that this is segregation. We just want to build a haven where we feel safe. They're planning to finish construction on the homes as well as a farm, horse stables, lake, and tiny house cabin by next spring. Eventually, Scott said they want the land to become a hub for tourism with a farm-to-table restaurant, an Airbnb experience, an amphitheater, and a conference center. Scott and Walters hope to buy more land and expand into a city that's able to provide municipal services like law enforcement, a fire department, parks and recreation, libraries, a hospital, and school. Scott said it may take between 3 and 5 years to write a charter and petition to get the city recognized as an official municipality. They plan to call it Freedom, Georgia. It's going to be a long battle, she said. I'm hoping that it won't be a difficult battle because the state of Georgia to recognize us because we are attracting so many. Wait, how does it? I'm hoping it won't be a difficult battle getting the state of Georgia to recognize us because we are attracting so many resources and attracting so many families. Each state has its own requirements for municipal incorporation, and Scott must meet a number of population, development, and political requirements before the city can become incorporated. Scott said she hopes to inspire other Black families to build collectives and purchase land en masse, particularly in the local area. She advised others who hope to pursue similar projects to work with experts like a real estate agent, lawyer, or seasoned business consultants to protect themselves and their assets. Getting as much information and education as you possibly can is the first step, she said. The ultimate goal is not just to have a place to live, but to create jobs and build generational wealth. When the project is finally completed, Scott said she expects to feel uncontainable joy, pride, and legacy. No way you can walk out into the completed place and not have an overwhelming sense that we created legacy. That's it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That's the kind of stuff we need. And it's amazing what this family is doing. And I hope someone documents it.
I agree.
What these 19 families are doing. And I hope other families get together and do the same. You know, I want to clarify real quick before we move on. It is 1,400 acres. It's in Cody, Wyoming, where Kanye bought the property. And they have includes a restaurant, a saloon, a ranch-style event venue, maintenance shop, office buildings, horse barns, sheds, corrals, stores, facilities, and a state-of-the-art shooting range. And I know there have been photos surfacing recently of him building these dome-like homes on the ranch in Wyoming. I'll throw up some pictures of those too for our viewers on YouTube. But yeah, just wanted to clarify.
So he has a nice little base already.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that he bought, and they're expanding from there. Yeah, interesting, man.
So that's
interesting. But I'm gonna put all these links. The link that Smith read, I'll put that link in the description, and a couple of links to Kanye stuff, and definitely the link to Akon City.
And this is kind of like what we were just saying in the beginning, like finding towns that either for some reason are being sold or need some economic funds brought into it to change it. Why not just do this and create it and make it our own? And then I came across another article that I would like to kind of read.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
It's called 5 Ways to Rebuild the African American Community. The African American community, and this is the website is theblacktour.com, so It is going to be mainly about African Americans. But anyway, the African American community is supposed to be a team, but lately this team hasn't been working together the way it should. It's not a wholesome team where everybody has each other's backs. Instead, it's an accidental rivalry. It could be because we do not see value in ourselves, but this cannot be solely blamed on the African American community. This could be blamed on the media because they always show the problems in our community, but never any solutions. So here are a few ways to redeem our community. Number 1, support Black-owned businesses. Black-owned businesses are a dime a dozen. As a community, we should buy Black to support other Black people. Black people tend to use the excuse of bad service as a reason not to support Black-owned businesses. The reality of this complaint is that these same Black people can experience equally bad or worse service at other stores that are owned by white people. The Black dollar can be very powerful if it's used properly. When you buy white, then we push money into the white community, which in turn makes more jobs for other white people instead of creating more jobs for Blacks. Black-owned businesses are more likely to hire other Black people, support Black people, and give back to the community. If we do not put our Black dollar back into our Black community, then how can we rebuild our Black communities to be stronger and better? Very strong, very powerful, and basically what we've been kind of saying. Next thing is utilize Black entertainment. Historically, African American shows have always taught us lessons more inclined towards being Black. It was shows like A Different World that actually depicted black people going to college, and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that revealed police brutality towards black people. That one kind of throws me, but I'm not. I know there's. Anyway, there was a time when we could self-identify with the people we see on the television in a positive manner. These shows were more than just entertainment. They held moral lessons that helped the youth of our community and whoever else that watched it see that being black isn't about being demoralized. Black literature has always carried burdens of centuries of pain, but that isn't the only kind of literature that black people write. The problem is that this seems to be the only kind of literature that is acknowledged. To know our burdens could never be a bad thing, but to only know our burdens has to take a toll. It seems like black youth are never given anything positive to relate to, whether it's media related or in literature. Utilize black entertainment as an escape from a world that is set to tear us down. And I think that is powerful. And that's a good point. Like the fact that if all you're seeing is the stuff from the past, and that's important to remember and to know so that you don't make dumb comments like what Kanye West has made, and and some other people I've seen post. But just to understand, you don't want to go back that way, and we need to rise ourselves up. But if you are only seeing that type of thing over and over, and never a positive, businessmen doing stuff, but which there are a lot of new shows and movies that have come out that I've been seeing, and I'm feeling, it does make you feel positive. Even and this, they're depicting stuff that happened in the 40s and 50s and stuff like that, or even 60s, and just understanding the barriers that people, and this is based on true stories, that what they did to overcome, how they had to be cunning to buy property and stuff like that. What we're referring to. So it just helps in the long run. Plus, again, we've talked about this, is by building our communities, we can be in charge of our schools, and we can educate ourselves about about
our history and who we are and what's important.
Which then leads to the next one: educate yourself. Education doesn't have to be done in school. Not only should we educate ourselves on the problems in the community, but we should also learn about our past and not just the things we are taught to believe in school. Black people have a rich history, and it's not being taught to us in schools. There are many possible solutions in the form of protest movements that can not only educate you more, but help fight for the black community. Not only should we be educated about our history and possible solutions, but we should also learn about handling our money. As a community, we should be more financially literate. The black dollar stays in the black community for all of 6 hours. We spend specifically less money on healthcare and pensions than other communities do. Education is a must if we want to rebuild our community.
6 hours, wow.
Yeah, and that's a good one.
That's what Killer Mike
thing. Like, man, just crazy.
He didn't stay in our community at all.
Yeah. Outreach programs are vital in communities where violence is rampant. Outreach programs can provide a safe place for black youth. These outreach programs can even have counselors, tutors, and possibly provide food for these at-risk youth who may not have access to any of these services otherwise. These outreach programs give these youth the option for staying out of violence and may be rampant in their communities.
Right.
And last one is support the community. The black community needs more unity. The men of our community tear down fellow black women, and they act as if their mother isn't a black woman. Black women do the same with black men. This is a problem. We don't support each other in the community. We tear each other down to make them feel worthless. We do not support the black community as a whole. And somewhat of that I agree. And I mean, that is kind of like depends on your view of it all and where you are. Yes, we do need to support. Yes, we need to, not fear each other. And again, a lot of that comes, I feel, from the media, because all you see is the negative, the bad. And people choose to just think that that's what what it's like. And it's not 100% that way.
Right.
Things can be bad, yes. but is it 100%? No.
Right.
You know,
Right.
people want, I think, that style back in the day where it was the neighborhood raised everyone. You know? If you got in trouble,
it takes a village
because you get home. Your parents may already know because someone else.
It takes a village. Yeah, that's an African proverb, man.
Yeah,
I guess that's what they did back then in those African villages and stuff like
I'm
that.
sure they did.
Yeah, yeah, but all those are very good points and segments that Smith brought up. And again, I'll put the link in the description. You'll send me those links.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, send it to me on email, and I'll just copy and paste those 2 links or whatever, and I'll get those in there. Yeah, guys. So yeah. I mean, that's about it, right?
That's it.
Nothing to talk about today on this show. Just wanted to just shed some light on what it will take and how it would be, and what we need to do to start owning our own communities. And
what I will add, though, this list is actually kind of a good way to would work for reparations.
Right.
Like each one of these steps are good ideas on what reparations would how it could help once. It's decided how the money comes, because it talks about being fiscally responsible.
The education part, the whole thing.
Yes.
And you know what, man, I got to say real quick before we sign off, a lot of people don't think it's going to happen, but I know the reparations will happen. It could only go so long before the people that were never paid, our people, came knocking on their door. Where's our money? Where's our land? It was only a matter of time. You could only systemically oppress a people for so long before they start beating the door and going, "Hey guys, it's time to pay up."
Yep.
Like, where's ours?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at our communities. Look at what's happening to our people. Look at the education system. I was just talking to my daughter the other day, and they're teaching her European history or something in the 10th grade. Like, she's an European. What you teach her the whole history?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad to know European history, but she needs to learn African history too.
Correct.
And before slavery, like kind of what you were just saying, they always started from that point. Go before slavery, show who we were before that.
Yeah.
And show that we were kings and queens and everything else, and we had communities, built architecture, the whole nine, man. Anyway, that's our show, guys. Don't forget to subscribe on ICT Group Digital on YouTube. Hit that notification button so you'll know when the shows are coming out. Like I said, we're back on the couch. Everything will be in the description. Don't forget to follow us on social media. And we'll see you guys next Friday. We're going to see if we can keep pumping these out. If you do see us virtually, it'll probably be just because I went out of town or something. I have a couple of projects I'm doing in Louisiana, so I've been back and forth a lot lately. So if you do see another virtual show, it'll probably be because of that, because I'm out of town. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's it. So like I said, we're back on the couch. Thank you guys for checking in. Thanks for listening where you get your podcast.
Subscribe.
And don't forget to subscribe once again, and we'll see you guys next Friday. It's the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur Smith. Peace.